It was a nice, peaceful night when I returned home from bonking horny people. Usually at this time of the night, I turn on my laptop, start my camera, and say something like, "Hey, what's up everyone, I'm SuperSonicJB." But not today. No, today, I have other plans. Today I'm asking the love of my life out on a date. That's right, I'm finally asking Sonic Adventure 2 out! Sorry girl, but I don't speak text box talk. Ha! You wish. Quit making up stories, girl. Huh? It's not here. Then what am I supposed to do now? Who the heck even are you people? Is that gonna hurt? You ever wanted to play a game and then said to yourself, "Nah, I'd rather read a book instead"? No, you haven't, because reading sucks! Wait, there's waifus in this story? Never mind, reading rocks. Visual novels, what hasn't been said about them? They're a combination of games and books, more together like Sonic and Shadow Becoming Shattuck and Nazwa Unleashed. Why the hell did I compare that to a visual novel? Visual novels have been around for many years now, but they especially became more popular in the late 2010s when games like Doki Doki Literature Club came out. There's been tons of great visual novels released, and one of the most popular ones is this one called Majikoi Love Me Seriously. That sounds like a threat. This was a visual novel themed around a young man named Yamato going to school for samurais. He goes to school with his longtime group of friends, but their friendship is tested when two girls move in with them. The gang goes on wacky adventures together, etc. anime stuff. This game was released back in 2009 for Japan, but got a Western release later on. In 2020, yeah, we didn't get an official release of this game for 11 whole years. Why? I don't know really. We literally got an anime release based on the series with an English dub before we got the visual novel. The visual novel heavily focuses on Yamato trying to romance one of the main heroines. We got Momoyo, the strong, tough girl, Miyako, a perverted, emotionless childhood friend, Kazuko, an energetic girl who's treated like a dog, Yuki, a shy girl who talks to a toy like, "Alright Charmander, today's the day, I'm finally gonna go out and touch some grass." Ha! Don't make me laugh, you wouldn't touch grass if there was Kurumi hentai on it. And Chris, a German exchange student with a strong sense of justice. It's a pretty long game too, taking around 30 hours or more to complete. Now personally, I had no idea this game even existed until this year. I remember watching an anime back in the day and thinking it was a little weird, but also funny. And today I decided to play the visual novel and see what it's like. People online say it's way better than the anime, so I knew I had to check it out. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at Majikoi Love Me Seriously. So here we go, Majikoi Love Me Seriously. The title screen here is alright, but nothing that impressive. Everyone looks kinda pissed off though. Like Kirby on American game covers. They're basically the same thing, right? We do get this cool katana as our mouse, which is pretty awesome. I don't think we need to see the tutorial for visual novel. I mean, all you gotta do is... Anyways, let's go ahead and start the game, shall we? Dang, this game has Sonic Adventure 2 style text appearing on the screen? How cool! So the game starts off with the character Kawakami Momoyo fighting a girl named Kuki Agaha, and they're in the middle of an epic battle. There's also some text popping up about samurais, but who cares about that, right? Reading bad after all. Ah! Reading's for nerds! Anyways, we jump forward 1 year later. Oh yeah, we don't actually see how that fight ends, it's just a quick cutscene. The most fearsome and inescapable enemy of all had come. Its name? Monday! No! Anyways, here we are at the Shimazu dorm, where we meet the protagonist in the game, Yamano Naoi, a young man who attends Kawakami Academy along with his friends, who all have known each other since they were kids. Kawakami Academy is a school dedicated to fighting like samurais, and it's locked in Kawakami City, a place famous for its dedication to its samurai ancestors. Yamato then wakes up with a blue-haired girl in his bed. Rem, is that you? So this is Miyako, one of the main heroines in the game. She's a quiet and sort of emotionless girl who is madly in love with Yamato. However, Yamato only wants to be friends with her. Because my boy ain't no sim. You're not the girl I wanted to look at! After Miyako leaves the room, a robot named Cookie comes in and complains to Yamato about how he should stop being so lazy. Then he freaking transforms into the Terminator and threatens to cut Yamato into pieces. What the heck is this game? And yes, I refer to Cookie as he here, because Cookie is confirmed to be a male in this visual novel, even though I always thought Cookie was a girl because of his voice in the anime. Wait, the robot's a dude? I know, right? Anyways, Yamato escapes from Cookie's wrath and goes to breakfast, where we meet Yuki, a freshman at his school who just moved into the dorm. We even get to see a small flashback scene of how the two of them meet. He actually almost has her arrested because she brought a weapon to school, but apparently she had permission to bring a sword to school. Well, at least she didn't get arrested. I bet that'd make her route really awkward. Hey Yuki, wanna go out?
Not a problem.
So it's pretty obvious that Yuki here is a really shy girl. So that's at least one thing the anime got right. Anyway, since this is the beginning of the game, we get introduced to several other main characters. This is Tadakutsu, a dude who seems really angry all the time, but can be a pretty cool guy. Here's Gakuto, one of Yamano's best friends, who really wants to get a girlfriend, and he reads some really weird magazines. There's Takuya, whom Miyako describes out loud to us. Huh, makes me wonder how someone would describe me. You're SuperSonicJB, a weeb who loves Hotel Mario and Fate Prism Ilya. Don't go that far, man. Then there's Momoyo, a crazy older girl who has insane fighting skills, who we saw at the very beginning of the game. She manages to beat up an entire army of thugs, and even does a Mortal Kombat style move on a few of them.
Fatality.
One thug even asks for mercy, and she says she'll let him go if he tells a funny joke. What do you call the target of a falling rock? Stoned! Yeah, I don't blame her for beating him up for that joke. We also meet Kazuko, who's the adopted sister of Momoyo, and she's nicknamed Wanko because of her dog-like tendencies. Yeah, I didn't understand the joke at first, but Wanko apparently means dog in Japanese. The game also introduces us to some of the non-voice acted side characters, like Chika, Mayo, the adorable class rep.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Hideo, a snobby rich kid who kinda looks like Gilgamesh from the Fate series. Mitsuru, not the Persona 3 character, but this chubby guy who looks like he's got a Discord server to mod. Ikuro, at least I think that's how it's pronounced, who clearly is a fan of the screen painting when you make a face like that. And of course, Hojo from Final Fantasy VII. Wait, I'm being told his name was actually Suguru. Oh, so that's Hojo's maiden name. It all makes sense now. Also, apparently Hojo's a weeb, because my lord, look at that shirt! Oh, and of course we can't forget our team captain Shoichi. He's Yamano's other best friend, and is always going out his way to have fun with his friends. He also wears a cool bandana. I bet Bandana Wallaby is his hero. Also, Chika here is a huge simp for him. Just saying. Yeah, she even goes on a date with him, but he's too stupid to realize that she actually has feelings for him. Anyways, those are the majority of the characters. But we find out that at school, our class is getting a German exchange student this Friday, who will become a pretty important character in this game. So as we play on, we get to make some decisions that can affect the game's story. In the beginning, they're pretty basic and easy, but as you play on, the choices you make can lead to unlocking a specific heroine's route. Honestly, it was pretty tough for me to choose which girl I wanted to date, though I'll just say this now, I'm not a big fan of Momoyo, because I don't like her abusive attitude, so I'm not doing her route. Also, no, Hojo looking guy here doesn't have his own routes. How sad. Anyways, we'll talk more about character routes later. For now, let's continue talking about the game's story.
Please, meet in my house from morning.
Maybe I should just quit the game now. Nah. After school, we head over to our secret base, where Yamano hangs out with his friend group from time to time. It's a pretty nice place, not gonna lie, and we'll be spending a lot of time here as we play on. The next day at school, we meet the principal of Kawakami Academy, Mr. Teshin, who is also Momoyo's grandfather. He's supposed to be one of the best fighters in all of Japan, and now he's retired, and is now running a school to help train the next generation. Heck, even the Prime Minister and President of the United States appreciates this man. That's pretty impressive. Teshin brings out all the students to the courtyard and give them all an interesting speech. But when nobody's listening to him, he shouts so loud that half of planet Earth hears him scream. This terrifies Yuki to death. After that, we go to class and Shoichi ends up setting up a bet amongst the students on what gender the new transfer student will be. Ikuro asks one of the teachers what gender they are, and he ends up lying to him about knowing their gender, and he even takes his money from him, even though he had fake info. I guess he deserves it for being a simp for all the girls in school. Yamano uses his tactical skills to basically rig the bet in his favor, which is pretty sneaky of him. After school, we get to learn more about Yamato and his friends' past. Now this happens a lot during the game. 1 minute you're hanging out with your friends, then Yamato will have a flashback sequence where he remembers past events with his friends. Like one time they competed in a karaoke contest when they were really young because they wanted to win a bunch of gift cards. They even blew into a conch shell during the sequence, and obviously that's a SpongeBob reference. And then there was another time where they were being bullied by a bunch of older kids. But then Yamano learned about Momoyo, and he asked her to help. And she accepted it, but in return, he had to become her younger brother. And there's plenty more of these scenes where that came from. So anyways, this game uses a calendar sequence. So you'll be seeing the date appearing on screen after a long sequence of cutscenes. We get to learn a lot about all the characters as we play on. Like Tadakatsu is apparently the adopted son of the teacher who ripped off Ikaro, and they both do some shady work on the side. Oh, also Tadakatsu is the tsundere.
Gin-san, would you happen to be a tsundere?
What the hell's that?
We also learn that Yuki has a phone strap that looks like a horse, and its name is Matsukase. She basically talks to this horse anytime she's stressed, and when the elders ask her why she keeps talking to the horse, he says that he's a spirit that possesses a small horse phone strap. And yeah, nobody believes her. Would you believe that I'm a spirit that possesses Charmander plushie? Heck no, you're just a running gag for this video! It's also her goal to make 100 friends. Huh, sounds like the plot from Komi Can't Communicate. Maybe that show was inspired by this. Yuki can't communicate! A few days later, and we finally get to meet the new German exchange student. Her name is Chris, and she makes a sick entrance to school while riding on a horse. So yeah, Chris is a girl, and that means a bunch of people in class have lost a bet. Kazuko ends up challenging Chris to a fight, and the two of them face off in the courtyard, while the entire school, even the teachers, watch it happen. It's a pretty entertaining fight sequence, not gonna lie, and it contains some of the most animations you'll see in this entire game. It even has some cool voice lines added to it.
You lose.
So in the end, Chris won the fight because of her sick swordsman skills. Kazuko tries to start round 2, but then gets bonked by a grandfather. After the fight, we find out that Chris will be living in the dorms with us, and Shoichi asks Yamato to show Chris around town. We end up going to multiple areas in the game, showing her around. But then Yamato opens up his big mouth and tells Chris about the class betting on what gender she was, and he admits that he rigged the game in his favor. She gets mad at him for cheating, and the two of them start to avoid each other when they get back to the dorms. At the secret base, the gang discusses if they want to add Chris to their friend group. Heck, you even get to make the decision yourself, which is pretty cool. I chose to let her join the group, because who knows, maybe I'll end up doing her out. Also, something funny that I wanted to mention here is that Momoyo tried to get me to jump into her arms, and the game gives you the option to jump, not jump, or jump into Gakuto's arms. Well, I'm not a big fan of Momoyo, so catch me, Gakuto! Not it! After that joke, Momoyo gets really pissed off at me and gives me a pretty harsh massage that puts me to sleep. And then I wake up with Miyako in my bed again, and she says we did a dirty deed together last night. Holy crap, we played Hungry Hungry Hippos together? Nah, don't worry, it was just a joke. So the gang spends their day off having fun. They play baseball together in the park, some of them train, and some do some part-time jobs. The girls take a bath together, and you have the option to peek, let your imagination go wild, or do the famous Luigi strat and do absolutely nothing. Well, obviously I had to follow in Luigi's footsteps. The girls end up breaking the bath heater, so now they have to share the bathroom with the guys. Well, this couldn't possibly end horribly, right? Also, is that a Shiro Emiya reference? I am the bone of my meat. Yamano and Chris do end up forgiving each other, but then that all goes down the drain when he enters the bathroom and Chris is practically naked in there. Which, of course, leads to her getting angry. Sheesh, can't anime girls learn how to lock doors already? Hey, all you anime girls out there. Today I'm going to teach you how to lock a door. And there you go, that's how to lock a door. That'll be $100. So anyways, Yuki ends up finally getting the courage to making the gang some food, and she asks everyone if she can be part of their group, and we agree to letting her in. Oh god, fan service! Excellent! Wait, just forget I said that. Whoa, check out Yamano's sick ringtone! Later that night, the guys and girls get in a small fight, and Yamano gets held hostage by the girls. Well, Chris and Yuki think it's a game anyways. But our boys manage to help him escape, and we even outsmart them. Next, Shoichi tricks all the girls to think that he was Yamato, and he even references that one famous Dio line. We do find out that Yuki, who's now been nicknamed Mayuchi, actually saw Yamato's escape attempt, but he convinced her to not tell anyone, because my boy can riz the ladies pretty well. The next day at school, everything seems to be going fine, aside from Chika wanting an unrealistic husband, and then insulting Hojo's taste in 2D women. And you wonder why this guy became evil. You insulted his anime women! But then the point of view changes to Class 2S's, who is filled with a bunch of weird characters. Like baldy-looking One Punch Man here, who is obsessed with lollies. Yuck. Snow White-looking girl who tells horrible stories. Let's count Gilgamesh, and his simp maid, who's also a complete asshole when he's not around. And the main girl of the class, Kokoro, a snotty rich girl who thinks she can beat anyone in a competition. She even challenges Yamano to a game of Mahjong. Girl, I don't know anything about Mahjong. What do you think I am? Troubles in that one episode of Chowder? But Yamano manages to beat her by doing some weird technique where he takes all of her points and wins. Yeah, that was not but a fluke! Sounds like a skill issue to me, girl. Oh shit! Burn! So Yamano brags to his classmates about his amazing victory, though Chris thinks he cheated somehow. Dang, girl, just because he saw your watermelons doesn't mean you have to freak out on him. Thankfully, she gets her just desserts the next day, after everyone takes a piece of her sushi. Though she gets mad at Gakuto, and he gets launched like he's Jazzy Jeff. Miyako even holds up a sign, giving that launch a 10. She does this a lot during the game. Anyways, when we return to school, Kokoro demands that we compete in another duel, but she's not the one competing this time. No, she asked her friend Aoi to compete. Oh no, not another character named Aoi! Turns out Aoi is a super genius in Class 2S, who is very popular with the ladies. Also, he's a bit of a simp himself.
You know, I'm something of a
simp
myself.
Holy crap, what's with all the freaking simps in this game? You're a simp, everyone's a simp! So we make a bet on which runner on the track team will win first place. But it turns out both Yamano and Aoi paid off the two runners that they bet on. But Aoi paid more money for Yamano's runner to lose, so he loses on purpose, which leads to Aoi winning the bet. Yamano doesn't take this very well, and he says he'll get his revenge. The next day is a holiday, so the gang go their separate ways and enjoy themselves. Shoichi works at a bookstore and gets paid in lottery tickets. Gakuto and Moro, yes, that's his nickname by the way, go out to eat, and of course, Gakuto hits on the waitress, and gets rejected immediately. They also overhear some slackers talking about some illegal drugs, which is pretty sketchy. We also see this tough guy in a different area hurting a man because he's super evil, but that's a whole nother story. The next day at school, Yamano challenges Aoi to a rematch, and they compete in a luck-based card game, and whoever draws a high-ranked card wins. Yamano does cheat though. In a strategic way anyways. The gang also finds out that their school has been vandalized last night, so they end up staying at school that night in hopes of catching the culprits. Shoichi even calls the girls the Mighty Morphin Samurai Rangers. I can hear the theme song now. So the gang stays at school that night and splits up into groups and attempt to catch culprits. Yamano teams up with Chris in an attempt to make peace with her. The culprits end up coming to the school, and they have a terrifyingly strong leader named Bob? Like Bob the Builder? Too bad Bob the Builder gets beaten up by Moyo. Guess he couldn't fix it after all. The gang manages to fight off the intruders, but when Yamano and Chris try to fight someone, Chris does a dumb move, which leads to the culprit getting away from them. Yeah, Chris is the type of person who attacks first without thinking.
Think, Mark!
Thankfully, the others step in, and we're able to beat all the culprits. The next day, Yamano meets some strange woman after school. Hey, I remember this weirdo from the anime. Stay away from her, my guy. And the gang heads out to our secret base, but things don't go too well when Chris says that the building should have been torn down, and we should just hang out at home instead of here. This leads to a huge fight amongst the groups, and Miyako nearly attacks Chris over this comment, because yeah, this place is very special to them. We even get to see a flashback scene of when they were kids. They always hung out at this old field where this place is built on, and they protected a rare flower from dying, and it became a symbol of their friendship. It honestly is a pretty heartwarming story, and they even quote Dr. Eggman at one point.
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
Chris is forgiven in the end, thankfully, and the following day, the group goes on a trip to a resort. The resort is located in the mountains, surrounded by beautiful nature, and oh no, hot springs! Ugh, anime hot spring scenes are the worst! They're so cringy! We do get the option to spend time with specific characters here, so we're getting closer and closer to starting the characters' routes. At the resort, the gang go fishing, hiking, do some training, and have some weird conversations in the hot springs. While training in the woods, Miyako and Kazuko come across this female soldier named Margit, who tries to attack them, but it turns out she works for Chris's father, and he had multiple soldiers here undercover to keep her safe from harm. Wow, what a unique father! That night, Yamano, Gakuko, and even Momoyo try to spy some girls at the hot springs. But security alarms get set off, so they run away, and Momoyo throws both Yamano and Gakuto into the river so they can escape. Unfortunately, this leads to Yamano getting really sick, and he challenged Chris to a duel earlier to show her how much he wants to make up with her and show her the power of friendship or something. I really don't know. So now he has to face her while dealing with a cold, even though the friends who know about his cold told him not to do this. They compete in some randomly selected games involving luck, skill, and smarts. The score gets tied at one point, and Yamato's illness is getting really bad. But Mayuchi puts her foot down and tells everyone the truth about Yamato being sick. So they all agree to shorten the competition to one final round. A race downhill, we had to stop at certain checkpoints and answer questions to progress. We also get partners to help us out, so Yamato gets Wanko and Chris gets Miyako. We start the game and Yamato has Wanko run ahead to get to the checkpoint, so they have a head start. The first question is a real easy one. Given 1 mole of ideal gas with pressure P, volume V, and temperature T in Kelvin, use Boyle's law and Charles' law to... Is this multiple choice? Eventually, everyone gets to the first checkpoint and Yamato manages to get the question correct first. But Chris ran on ahead, and when Miyako gets the answer right, she throws the baseball they're required to have while crossing the finish line all the way down to Chris down the hill. Which is kind of cheating because I thought they had to go to the second checkpoint where Mayuchi is at, but who cares, right? However, Yamato once again manages to outsmart Chris and tricks her into thinking that Wanko has their baseball, and she falls and hurts herself on the ground, which leads to Chris letting her guard down, and Yamato manages to cross the finish line before her. So yeah, Yamato wins the competition and Chris and him become good friends once again. Later they finally head back home, but a random fortune teller reads our fortunes. But Yamato's fortune is a warning about leaving someone alone, but we're unable to hear all of it because our bus ride back home takes us away. We arrive back home and now starts the main focal point of the game, where each day revolves around you spending time with the heroine of your choice. We even get to see a cool anime intro playing, though it's pretty late in the game to be playing an anime intro. So the game itself contains 5 main routes, 6 sub-routes, and 1 final route. The 5 main routes focus on the 5 main girls in the game, while the 6 sub-routes focus on the guys and other girls in your class. And the final route acts as a grand finale where all the characters come together and fight against evil, and your bonds with everyone is at its peak. It's an amazing ending route and arguably the best route in the game, though in order to unlock the sub-routes and final route, you have to complete the 5 main routes first. I started with Mayuchi's route first, and I thought it was really heartwarming and fun. In order to start a character's route properly, you'll need to spend a certain amount of days with them. These little ball things on your character represent how much time you'll need to spend with someone in order to unlock their route. Each day you spend with the character leads to one of the ball things leaving, and once they're all gone, you unlock a character's route. Some characters require less time to start their routes, like Miyako because your relationship with her is already really strong. The days go by really quickly too, until you unlock a character's route. Each day contains some great and hilarious scenes too. Like one day we discuss our favorite burger restaurant, and I get to choose between McDonald's, that name sounds very familiar for some reason, Death Burger, so I eat there and die, Lottery Burger, do I get lottery tickets if I eat there, and Kintaro's Fried Chicken, so KFC in this world. I chose Lottery Burger, by the way, because hey, it'd be nice to win the lottery, am I right? Guys, you're never gonna believe this. I just won the lottery! Wait, this is a receipt to Dollar General. There's another day where I learn more about Miyako's awful past. There's another day when Mayuchi gives me a horrifying look.
You are perfect.
On another day, Matsukase makes another Dio reference. Hey, can I make anime references too? No, you can't, okay? Now shut up! Another day we draw cards in class, representing different arcanas, just like in the Persona games. Gakuto gets strength, Catherine gets the Fool, Wanko the Sun, Chris gets justice, of course, Chika gets lovers, etc. Oh, and Yamato gets the world. I didn't even know that was an arcana. Hojo even breaks the fourth wall a little bit after seeing Yamato's card. That's right, Hojo, I am a VN protagonist. Well, technically I'm a guy playing a game about a VN protagonist, but same thing, you know? Now, I don't want to go over everything that happens in each character's route, because that would take way too freaking long. But I will say this, there wasn't a single bad route in this entire game. Every route was different and unique from each other. But truly, the best route in the game is the Hermit Crab route. Yes, this is an actual route you can do in the game. And it's so heartwarming and hilarious at the same time. Back off, ladies. I only need my hermit crabs. This game does include some 18+ scenes, but the Steam version doesn't include these. You have to download a patch to get those. And it costs more money? What the heck, people? Really, that's all I'm going to mention about the game's story because I don't want to go over too many spoilers, but let's go ahead and talk about the game's soundtrack. My god, is it amazing. The music fits in perfectly with every scene, no matter how silly or how heartwarming it is. I mean, just take a listen to a few tracks here. Then there's the visuals. They look alright, but a bit dated. Maybe one day we could get a remake of this game, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. Heck, even if we do get a remake, it'll probably just be a Japanese exclusive, or it'll come out in the US 15 years after its Japanese release. And honestly, that's all I really have to say about this game, so let me give you all my final thoughts on the game. Majikoi Love Me Seriously is a very bizarre and weird visual novel, but I love it so much. The story, the characters, the music, everything is done so incredibly well in this game. The routes felt so satisfying to play through, and the humor made me tear up so many freaking times. I'd go as far as to say this was within my top 10 visual novels that I played, and I highly recommend it to anyone wanting to play a good and funny visual novel. I mean, it has cute hermit crabs in it. That's a day one buy to a lot of people. So that was my experience playing Majikoi Love Me Seriously. In the end, I'd say it's a fun game from start to finish. All the girls look really happy that I played the game, and that makes me happy too. Sure, it's no Sonic Adventure 2, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, am I right? Hey, Sonic Adventure 2 isn't even that good, man. I'm done with you, man. How the hell does Mayuchi deal with stuff like that?